So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below, so check those out for massive discounts on all your Hidden Summoner needs as well as all your other Yu-Gi-Oh needs. But let's get on with the profile. What's up YouTube, Dave Zephyr Wargames, bringing you probably one of the more fun decks and really powerful decks from Hidden Summoners, and that is Prankids. So as you can see before you, I do have a Prankid deck to kind of display for you guys. Now this is with a small Thunder Dragon engine, but the majority of it does revolve around the Prankids, and we do get more Prankid support in Savage Strike, but we also receive Rock in our special editions for Soul Fusion as well, so this will give us a head start on that. And then there is speculation that the OCG are getting more Prankid support, which is really what they need. They need like just a Link 1 monster that can start to get the chains going. Without further ado, I'll take you through the deck and I'll explain to you how the deck kind of works. So start off with the main deck, and of course you play triple of all the little Prankids, so they are just basically little troublesome monsters. And you've got Lampus or Lampsies as your first one. Now all Prankids share the same effect that if they're sent to the graveyard as material for the fusion or a link summon of a Prankid monster, this one inflicts 500 damage to your opponent, and then you get to special summon a Prankid monster from your deck, hand or deck in defense position. It is a hard once per turn. Now each of the Prankid monsters have a kind of clause that you must fulfill, and they let you special summon another from deck. So triple Prankids Dropsies. This one, again, if it's sent to the graveyard as a fusion or link material for a Prankids monster, you gain 1,000 life points and then special summon one Prankid from your deck in defense position. We've then got triple Prankids Fancies. Now this is the Thunder one. This one, if you activate a Thunder Dragon monster's effect in hand, you can turn this into a Colossus, which is pretty badass. So again, if it's sent to the graveyard for a fusion or link material for a Prankid monster, you send one Prankid card from your deck to the graveyard, accept itself, and special summon one Prankid monster from your deck. So obviously once we get Rock, you can see how this deck starts to get a bit more, because you've got 4 Prankids you can start bringing out of your deck. We've then got 2 Killing Swamps. These can be Elemental Hero Prisma. These are just ways of searching poly, and then of course this is quite useful in the graveyard because with Thunder Dragon Fusion you just summon a fusion monster from your extra deck, so you get to summon the big 3k Prankids Butler, which specifically lists these guys on there as materials, so that can be very helpful. Then for the Thunder Dragon lineup, I've got 3 Thunder Dragon Dark and 1 Thunder Dragon Raw. Now you can play Hawk if you want. The engine I'm still working on is exactly what I want, but the whole idea with Dark is you use its effect to discard to search another copy of itself, and then you get to turn the Prankid Fancies into a Colossus. Now alternatively, if you wanted to go a little bit further, you could do. I also use Gold Sark in the deck, so I want to be banishing Dragon Raw, and then that can then let me special summon one of these guys, and then that again can trigger off and search you out your Thunder Dragon Fusion. So there's a lot of consistency with the deck that works really nicely. We've then got a hand track lineup. This hand track lineup can be any hand track lineup you wish. I've got 2 Droll, 2 Ash and 2 Ogre at this moment in time. The whole idea with the Prankids is they do have a card called, when I find it, Prankids Pranks, and in the end phase you shuffle 3 Prankids cards back, gives you recyclability, but then you get to draw 1 card, so you're hoping that you draw into one of your stun cards or your hand traps and stuff like that. Because the one thing that the Prankids kind of lack is disruption during your opponent's turn, to kind of really stun your opponent as best as you can. Moving on to the spells, we play triple Prankids Place. So this is the field spell of the deck. When the card is activated, you add 1 Prankids monster from your deck to your hand, and then once per turn, if you fusion summon a Prankids fusion monster, except during the damage step, you can have all monsters you control gain 500 attack, even if this card leaves the field. Alternatively, once per turn, if you link summon a Prankids monster, link monster, except during the damage step, you can have all monsters your opponent currently controls lose 500 attack, even if this card leaves the field. You can only activate 1 per turn. We've then got the 1 Terraforming to search this out. You can play Terraforming at 2 if you wish, but we do also have Cockle Doodle Doo, or just Doodle Doo, Prankids Doodle Doo, in the extra deck that will search out the field spell should you need it, so you don't want to clog too much with your Terraformings. We've then got triple Prankids Pandemonium. This one is during the main phase, fusion summon 1 Prankids fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or filled as fusion material. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot normal or special summon monsters except Prank Kids monsters. So this is really, really good to play during your opponent's turn because it is a quick play spell, and then that can then trigger off more effects of your monsters if you do it right. And bring out more Prank Kids from your deck as well. The biggest disappointment on this card as well is it would be really cool if it was just a normal fusion spell that fusion from deck. So maybe that might be something of new support we get later on. Triple Instant Fusion, you've got 4 targets in the deck, and a little bit later game, if you were to Instant Fusion straight into Rocket, that revives straight away 2 of your Prank Kids monsters that put you into a Link monster, and that is without using your normal summon, and then the Link monster can then start recycling stuff as well. I've got double Poly and 1 Fusion substitute. Poly is quite straightforward. If you don't open up the Prank Kid Fusion, you do want to have the ability to get into Rocket. Rocket is your main kind of first turn or second turn kind of first card you play, and that of course gets your plays going. Fusion substitute is just there because we do play 3 rockets, so recycling isn't really hard in this deck because you do have, of course, Prank Kids pranks. But we want to be able to, just another alternative of using a fusion, using a polymerization, banishing it and getting an additional draw. It's not a necessity, it can be free poly should you wish. Alternatively, what you can play in this deck as well, if you wanted to bump up the terraformings, is Fusion Recycling Plant. That of course helps you search your polys as well, and then lets you recycle one of the materials during the end phase, so that can be very, very useful in the deck as well if you wanted to use that version. We've got 2 Prank Kid pranks. Now this one, you discard 1 Prank Kids card, special summon 1 Prank Kids token, Pyro, Fire, level 1, attack 0, defense 0, but it cannot be tributed during the end phase. You can target 3 Prank Kids cards in your graveyard except itself, shuffle all 3 into the deck and draw 1 card. That is the effect you use more times than not, less so the token summoner, but sometimes you might need to and move it forward that way. Double Guard start for our Thunder Dragons, 2 Called by the Grace because we want our effects to go off, the 1 Thunder Dragon Fusion, and then of course we've got the 1 Prank Kids Plan. You can play 2 of this if you want. This card is during the main phase, you can activate this effect. Immediately after the effect resolves, Link summon 1 Prank Kids Link monster, using Prank Kids monster you control as material. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can banish this card from the graveyard, shuffle any number of Prank Kids cards from your graveyard into the deck, and if you do, the attacking monster loses 100 attack for each card shuffled in until the end of this turn. You can only use one effect. Use each effect of Prank Kids Plan once per turn. So it's a nice way of, if for example you use Rocket's effect, or you use one of the Fusion's effect to get you 2 more materials on board, then you use the Prank Kids to go into the Doodle Doodle Do, and then you use that to search out more cards, and you can get rid of the Doodle Do and add cards back for your hands. There's a lot of consistency and a lot of recycling that can go on with the deck, and then of course the Graveyard effect is quite useful. It'd be nice if the Graveyard effect shuffled in banished cards as well, except itself, because when Rock comes out, you do have to banish a card from your hand to draw a card, but that's where the Thunder Dragons become more relevant, because you can then banish them off of the effect of Rock and then get their effects to push your plays further forward. Now onto the extra deck. Of course we've got triple Prank Kids Rocket Ride. This card is, like I said, the first card you play is very, very important. It requires 2 Prank Kids monsters. If it is fusion summoned, you can have this card lose 1,000 attack this turn. Also it can attack directly. You tribute this card, then target 2 Prank Kids non-fusion monsters with different names in your graveyard. Special summon them, but they cannot attack the turn. You can only use the effect of Prank Kids Rocket once per turn. So the whole idea is you can get rid of Rocket and bring back one of the Link 2s, and that helps you Link climb a lot quicker. Alternatively, during your opponent's turn, I believe you also have Prank Kids Weather Washer. So again, requires 2 Prank Kids. If your Prank Kids monster attacks, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you tribute this card, then target 2 Prank Kids non-fusion monsters with different names in your graveyard. Special summon them. They cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. You can only use the effect once per turn. So the whole idea is during your opponent's turn, you want to be going into this guy. During your turn, you want to be going into Rocket. And then, of course, start recycling and summoning back some of your Prank Kids. And then we've got the Prank Kids Battle Butler. This is just your beat stick on the board. So it requires specifically 1 fire, 1 water, and 1 thunder of the Prank Kids. Must be fusion summoned. Quick effect, you tribute this card, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. If this card in your possession is sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card effect, target 1 non-fusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Only use the effect of Prank Kids once per turn. So it brings back any monster in your graveyard that you wish. The only downside is, I think this should have been better as if this is destroyed by card effect, because then it like, I suppose it promotes you to use its destruction effect, and it doesn't feel like a 3k lost in that sense. We've then got, of course, for your link monsters, double Prankid's Doodle Do. This is the most important link monster, which is why you play it at 2. Requires 2 Prankid monsters. If this card is link summoned, you can add 1 Prankid spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You contribute this card, then target 2 Prankid's cards with different names in your graveyard, except itself, and add them to the hand. Its counterpart is Prankid's Bow Wow Bark. Again, requires 2 Prankids. And a Prankid monster, this card points to gains 1000 attack. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you contribute this card, then target 2 Prankid's cards with different names in your graveyard except link monsters, add them to your hand. Also, Prankid's monsters you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects this turn. You can only use each effect once per turn. And then, of course, the link boss monster is the equivalent of Butler, is, of course, Prankid's Rip Roaring Rooster. Should have been Rip Roaring Dragon or something like that, but I think they wanted to go with the RRR. 2+ Prankid monsters must be link summoned. Quick effect, you contribute this card, destroy all spells and trap cards your opponent controls. If this card in your possession is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, you can target 1 card in your graveyard, except the link monster, add it to your hand, only use the effect once per turn. So obviously the links recycle back to your hand, and the fusions summon back to the board. Now again, this would have been really good if it was via any card effect. It again promotes you to nuke itself. Then for the non-Prankid cards, we've got 2 Thunder Dragon Colossus. This can be cut down to 1 if you wanted to fit a Nightmare Phoenix in. We've then got the 1 Nightmare Unicorn. We've got the Boral Sword and the Boral Load. Because this deck can actually turbo out Boral Sword very, very easily, especially more so when we get Rock. I mean, straight away you link, if you fusion straight into like Rocket, straight away you've then got 3 monsters on board just from the fusion. You haven't even used your normal summon. So if you wanted to normal summon, as long as you haven't used the Prankid's fusion spell, you go straight into a Boral Load, and then you can push plays further forward that way. And then, of course, if you hadn't noticed, Droplet, or the TCG name of Drop Seas, is a level 2 Aqua. So you can make Toad, and unfortunately, like I said, because Prankids are lacking the ability of negation, Toad is a very, very good option for you right now to use and abuse that kind of protection that the deck may need. Anyway, that is it for the deck profile. Right now, from opening up the boxes of Hidden Summoners, I've opened up 2 myself, and I've got pretty much all bar 1 card for a Prankids deck, and that was missing 1 field spell. So I don't feel the deck is going to be stupidly expensive. It's definitely worth picking up for a fun deck. Probably 50 quid gets you the full Prankids core, and then it's really down to you if you want to start adding the Boroloads, the Boral Swords, the Colossuses and stuff like that. But I hope you helped. I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed it. And do not forget, we do have the giveaway going on for packs of Hidden Summoners. All you have to do is follow the description below, and that will tell you everything you need to do. So you need to go back to the video, put down Prankids, Nephis, or my Cashies in the comments below, while also liking our Facebook page, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and liking the video. On top of that, of course, if you do want to be picking up your singles or your packs, go visit Tier 0 Games and enter the code ZWGames5, and that will get you 5% off as well. They ship worldwide, and they will have plenty of singles to go around for you guys there, and pick them up as cheap as you possibly can. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and until next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. Also, YouTube, thanks for watching that video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit that like button. And of course, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button in the bottom left-hand corner and the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. We've got more deck profiles, duels, pack openings, and many more Yu-Gi-Oh videos coming up for you all year round. So don't forget to stay tuned for all of that. Thanks, and as always, guys, happy dueling.